Hello, my name is Daniel Ebener, and I will be giving a brief presentation on Marbury v Madison and its implications in modern society. Before Marbury v Madison, our government was still figuring things out. We had a constitution, but the Supreme Court didn't yet have the power to strike down laws. Congress passed laws, the president enforced them, and the courts could rule on cases, but no one had officially decided if the Supreme Court could say, hey, that law actually goes against the Constitution, so it's invalid. Basically, there was no clear system of judicial review, meaning laws could be unconstitutional, but there was no process to check them. This is why Marbury v. Madison ended up being such a game changer. Essentially, the facts behind the case was that when John Adams was leaving office, he appointed a bunch of judges, including William Marbury. But Thomas Jefferson, who was his successor, wasn't happy about it and told his Secretary of State, James Madison, not to deliver Marbury's official commission. Marbury ended up suing, and the case ended up in the Supreme Court. John Marshall, he was the Chief Justice at the time, ended up ruling that, yes, Marbury had a right to his job, but the law Marbury used to bring the case to the Supreme Court was actually unconstitutional. This ended up being the first time that the court struck down a law and basically set the precedent for judicial review, which lets the court decide whether laws align with the Constitution. So how does this affect us today? In a really big way. Essentially, judicial review is a massive part of our legal system. Every time the Supreme Court rules on things, whether it's civil rights, free speech, government powers, it's using the authority that Marbury v. Madison had established. Without this, we would definitely be in trouble because laws could be passed that weren't necessarily constitutional. For example, if a law was passed that restricted free speech or voting rights, without judicial review, there would be no system in place to challenge those laws. Now, if I could change anything and modernize the issue with the context of it now being the 21st century, I think I would focus on transparency. The Supreme Court has a lot of power, but the decisions that it makes happen behind closed doors. This is unlike Congress, for example, where they debate in public. Supreme Court justices, they're deliberating in private. I think it would be interesting to have more transparency, like even live streaming arguments or having justices explain their reasoning in simpler terms that would be easier for most of America to understand. That way, people wouldn't just hear about big decisions, they'd actually understand the logic behind them. Thank you all for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your day. God bless.